I was born a slave and made a man by knowledge. I am Frederick Douglass, and I escaped a system built on lies, terror, and law made crooked, and I recognize its music in your politics today. Donald Trump is not an innovation, he is an inheritance. The playbook he follows is old, and I have read it cover to cover. When I was a boy, my mistress began to teach me my letters. Her husband stopped her, saying, "Learning will spoil the best slave in the world." In that moment, I learned the tyrant's secret. Ignorance is his fortress, fear his gate, violence his guard, and a pious tongue his disguise. I debated slaveholders, faced mobs, and watched how a ruling class keeps power. Hear me now, for I will name the moves as I knew them then, and as you live them now. I will lay out 5 tactics from slavery's old playbook that Mr. Trump revives in your time, and then I will offer 6 ways free people can answer them with courage, with law, and with solidarity. First, dehumanize and divide. The slave power taught this with wicked art. They wrote us down as property in their ledgers and as brutes in their papers. They whispered that the field hand was the enemy of the house hand, that the black man was the terror of the white woman, any lie that would break neighbor from neighbor, and conscience from law. Today I hear the same low drum, immigrants called invaders, opponents called vermin, citizens who disagree named enemies of the nation. Once a man convinces you your neighbor is less than human, he will ask you next to treat him less than lawful. Division is not a symptom. It is a strategy. It was yesterday. It is today. Second, break the press and bury the truth. In my day, the truth about slavery was branded incendiary. Abolition papers were seized. Printers were threatened. Editors were beaten. I learned that the lash loves darkness and that the truth, like daylight, shows the scars. Now I hear enemy of the people thrown at reporters and fake news used as a broom to sweep away any fact that offends the powerful. The slaveholder fears 2 instruments above all others, the book and the ballot, so he breaks the press and he buries the vote. Third, rig the law and sanctify the wrong. The Fugitive Slave Act turned free soil into a hunting ground. And then Dred Scott declared we had no rights a white man was bound to respect. And many a pulpit poured oil on the chains and called it the gospel. Today, I see laws drawn to thin the vote, districts sliced to keep the mighty in their seats, and a politics wearing Sunday clothes to bless Monday's cruelties. When cruelty borrows a scripture and calls itself holy, it is not faith. It is camouflage. Fourth, build a cult of the strongman. The slavocracy told the nation, only we can preserve order. They armed pauses, winked at mobs, and demanded loyalty to men over fidelity to principle. Just now I heard, in your time, one man give the dangerous promise, I alone can fix it, along with the praise of political violence, the refusal to honor lawful defeat, and the vow to use office for vengeance. Disgusting, a free people swears their oath to a constitution, not to a man. Fifth, promise safety while selling fear. Slavery was paraded as necessary for harmony, and any plea for justice was called the road to chaos. So too now, those who profit from panic call their racket protection. The tyrant manufactures the fire and then sells you smoke as a sunrise. You ask, Mr. Douglass, what breaks the spell? I can only answer with the tools that broke my chains in my time, before ever I touched free soil. First, learn relentlessly. I stole an education, and it made me unfit to be a slave. Read beyond your tribe. Measure claims. If a leader's words cannot survive a footnote, let his power not survive your vote. Second, organize across lines. Abolition was not the work of one color or one sex. It was the braided strength of black and white women and men, pew and press, farm and town. Build coalitions that demagogues cannot divide and refuse the master's categories. Third, guard the ballot like a river that gives life to your land. Register and re-register. Watch the polls. Serve on boards. Run for the humble office where real power lives, in school districts, county commissions, state houses. Make the small doors of democracy stand open. Fourth, protect the press and demand receipts. Subscribe to the work that verifies before it shouts. Share documents. Not only opinions, receipts are rails. Truth rides on them. Fifth, practice courageous, lawful accountability. In my time, we demanded trials, not lynchings. In yours, demand investigations and verdicts, not idolatries and threats. No man is above the law, and no office is beneath it. Sixth, call out the pulpit that serves Caesar while pretending it serves Christ. Real religious liberty means the state keeps its hands off the conscience of all, believer and unbeliever alike. Faith that requires political power to function is not faith. It is appetite. Some will say, I speak as a partisan. I speak as a witness. I escaped a system that called theft order, bondage tradition, and silence peace. I hear those same phrases again. New paint, same boards. If you would not be ruled as chattel, do not be ruled as a chorus for any man's vanity. Mark me well, knowledge makes a man unfit to be a slave. Make yourselves unfit. Learn, organize, guard the ballot, protect the press. Be done with any leader who asks for your worship instead of your scrutiny, your silence instead of your courage. Do this, and you shall keep a republic. Fail, and you shall inherit a master. Finally, thank you for watching to the end. Please subscribe to this channel for more from historical characters and what they have to say after their visit to your times.